Every day in the USA, people find themselves in court.
Okay, and then Aaron Pierpoint, you're here, and Martin Emick, you're here as well. Okay, and that is number 24-67. All right, and I'm showing, Mr. Emick, can you confirm for me that you're ready to go with your hearing today?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, I reviewed the record and saw that you had been served with notice. All right, and then Ms. Pierpoint, are you ready to go as well?
I am, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. All right, what I'll do is I'll swear you both in, and then I'll hear from Ms. Pierpoint first, and then I'll hear from Mr. Emick after that. Keep in mind that I've already read your petition and everything that's in the record. It's not necessary for you to repeat any of that. You're not required to repeat everything that you've already done in writing, is what I'm telling you. And any of those things that have previously been filed are part of the record in the case and can be used as part of the decision as to whether or not to issue the order. And so feel free to refer me to any of those documents or other exhibits if you want to. And then please, you saw what happened at the last discussion. It only works if one person at a time talks, and interrupting each other is obviously not effective. And it's, I just don't think it works. So keep that in mind, and keep in mind that you get to address the court fully on your issue, and then you get a chance to respond fully. So even if the other party says things that you don't agree are true, it's not necessary to interrupt them. Just keep in mind you get to tell your side of it. They get to tell their side of it. That's how it works. All right, so can I have each of you raise your right hand? And do each of you swear that the testimony that you give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. All right, Ms. Pierpoint, go ahead.
Hi, Your Honor. Thank you for your time today. I am here to request the approval of my petition for a protection order against Mr. Emick. I am moving forward with this anti-harassment order at the suggestion of law enforcement after an incident on February 24th that resulted in Mr. Emick physically assaulting my husband and I on our property. This event can be found in more detail on pages 10 and 11 of the petition. Unfortunately, law enforcement was unable to charge Mr. Emick because we did not have obvious physical injuries, and Mr. Emick would not answer his door when they arrived to question him. Mr. Emick has exhibited a pattern of behavior that is seriously alarming and concerning. He's been made aware of this behavior, and not only has it continued, but it is now escalated to physical assault. It's clear that Mr. Emick is retaliating in response to violations that he has been found guilty of on his property. He appears to be encouraging and recruiting family and friends to join him in this behavior as well. Mr. Emick's behaviors and actions are well known in the neighborhood. He has had altercations with several other neighbors. This has become serious enough that 6 families have come together to meet and discuss their concerns about Mr. Emick after an incident in which a camper was set on fire with propane tanks inside that caused several large explosions and resulted in a brush fire that quickly spread on Mr. Emick's property. Thankfully, this fire was extinguished by the fire department, but that was only after neighbors called emergency services. After our daughter's bedroom window was broken, the responding officers recommended we install lights and cameras for security. We inquired with them about the placement of the lights and the cameras, and they gave us their suggestions. We followed their suggestions, and on February 24th, when officers arrived at our home, we again confirmed that our cameras and lights were following Washington state laws. Sheriff's Deputy Zamora stated we were well within our legal right to protect ourselves and our property. Throughout this ordeal, I have never contacted Mr. Emick via phone, email, text, or in person. I have never confronted him, and I have never returned his offensive gestures. In fact, I have not spoken to Mr. Emick since August of 2020. So I'm seeking this order of protection to ensure the safety of my children and myself, and to create a clear boundary for Mr. Emick, as well as the ability to pursue legal action in the future should his behavior not stop. It's my hope that this order of protection will diffuse the situation and prevent future incidents with Mr. Emick and third parties on his property. So thank you again for your time and assistance in this matter today, Your Honor. It is greatly appreciated.
All right, Mr. Emick, you want to go ahead with your response?
Yeah, the night she is talking about, I believe it's the February 24th. Yeah, we went over to the fence. They were blasting very loud music. So we walked over there to see what was going on because we couldn't even see them. And they started actually hitting us with sticks over the fence. So I'm not sure what she's talking about of us assaulting them. I reached over to try to grab the stick out of his hand while he was hitting me and my friends, which were on my property. So that's that incident. I don't know what else I need to defend. The fire she's talking, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to explain everything that she's lying about. The fire she's talking about is something my girlfriend had to do with. She's on the fire department record. She got the ticket for it. I had nothing to do with it. They've been after me. They have lights blaring 300 feet over my whole property. Did you get documentation that I filed? I filed like 30.
I have, yeah, I do. I
41
have
pieces of evidence. Once this goes through, I'm actually going to file a harassment order on her because I'm not really sure what they think I'm harassing them with. I didn't break their window. We were actually in OMAC that weekend. And I have proof of that. Hotel records. We weren't even home. I showed all the text messages that her husband has sent to me, how violent they are. If they had another text message from me, I guarantee you they would have presented it. I don't text them back. I don't harass them. I can't see their property. I built a secondary fence just so I don't have to see them. They shot my truck window out with a BB gun. I called the sheriff. I have documentation of that. He said I can't do anything unless it's on camera. But my truck happened to be right next to the property line, facing right where, it's pretty obvious. They've called the county on me. They've called ORC on me, even if my neighbors are burning. I don't really know how to, I don't know if anything I'm saying is pertinent to this case. It's pertinent to them harassing me, but in no way do I harass them. I'd like to know how I'm harassing them.
Is there anything else, Mr. Emick?
That's it.
All right, well,
Like you said, I have not seen her in 4 years. I don't see their kids.
I'm sorry that there's a difficult relationship between neighbors here. That's always a tough.
In one of the items on 1/13/2024, I'm up in a tree, about 15 feet up in a tree, 130 feet away from my fence, putting up an antenna so we can watch football. He comes out on these stairs and he just starts filming me. That's what they do. They have these stairs that overlook my property and they constantly film me. And yes, we do flip off their cameras because their cameras are invading our privacy and they look about 200 to 300 feet over our property. And I'm looking into hiring a lawyer to deal with all this once we go through with whatever happens here.
Okay, can I have that? All right. Thank you. All right. Well, I do find Ms. Pierpoint's allegations of harassment to be credible, and they're consistent with what was placed in her petition originally in this case. Ordinarily, conflict between neighbors is not the kind of thing that's going to result in issuing an anti-harassment order. People are not required to get along. People are not required to be nice. People are also allowed to express their displeasure with each other and even do that in ways that can be offensive or really unpleasant. But lines can be crossed, and lines can be crossed when threats are made. Lines can be crossed when physical violence occurs or property damage occurs or attempts to do those things. And it appears to me that what Ms. Pierpoint is saying is credible with regard to physical assaults and damages. And I'm finding that the allegations that she's made in her petition and repeated here today are credible, and I think those form the basis to find that there's been a pattern of behavior directed at her, and that behavior is serving no lawful purpose and is also harmful to her physical or mental well-being, and any reasonable person would suffer the same kind of harm. So I'm going to issue the order, which really means what I'm doing is extending the order that was issued on a temporary basis for a year
Can you
on
explain?
the same terms and conditions.
Can you explain to me
All right.
how I'm harassing them? What am
So
I actually doing?
All right, I've done that. I've made my ruling and I've explained it, and that is the ruling of the court.
What am I restricted from doing?
So I'll explain that part of this in just a moment.
Am I able to file a harassment order against her still?
All right, this order just prohibits the same things that temporary order did, which is to say no harm, no contact, and no approaching the protected person's residence or the person themselves. However, this restriction does not exclude the respondent from his own property or residence. And this order will be in effect for 1 year from today's date. That's to say March 11th of 2025. All right, this order will be filed by the court clerk today, and it'll be available to both of you shortly.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Can I continue asking questions? Or, Your Honor, I'm just wondering what I'm restricted from to do on my own property. I can go in, like, there's not a set limit on how close I can be to my fence line, right? Or
No.
Okay.
No, there's no such restriction.
Am I able to still file a harassment order on them to get them to remove their lights and cameras?
You have not been restricted from doing anything like that.
Okay, I just didn't know because of now she has this harassment order on me if I can file one on her. Thank you.
All right, that'll conclude your hearing for today.
Thank you.